Hi, Rom. How are
Hey,
you?
how you doing, Habib? I'm sorry. I
No worries.
apologize.
No worries. Good to see you, sir. Good to see you, sir. How are you?
I'm doing fine, man. I'm doing fine, man. I feel good. Change the tires on the car, sitting here getting some sleep. I stay busy, man.
No, it's good. It's good. It's good to speak to you and connect with you once again. What I usually do with my guests is ask for um, a quick elevator pitch. So if you don't mind, if you can quickly introduce yourself in terms of who you are, the great work that you're doing, and then we'll get into the topic matter at hand.
Well, my name is Rom Wills. I'm an author. My best-selling book is Nice Guys and Players, Becoming a Man, Women, One. I have some other relationship books as well. But my main thing is helping men to develop into the best man that they can on multiple levels. I use the term nice guys and players because I want a man to be both a man who could be that good guy, that emotional guy, strong, responsible guy, but also that guy who can knock that woman out in the bedroom. They want to be the best of both worlds. And ultimately, that's not even so much about satisfying the woman, but just actually helping a man to really go through life, understanding what that sexual power is and everything.
Great. No, well said. Sorry, I'm just actually I'll type in after. I just wanted to tag you and obviously what this Instagram live is about. Again, just for the benefit of those of you who are joining, I'm speaking to Rom Wills, who is an international best-selling author. He's written a number of books, one of them being Nice Guys and Players. They are available to buy on Amazon as well as his website, romwills, ROMWILLS.com. So definitely check him out. Gives a lot of great game. He's an OG in the game. A lot of good advice for men from different parts of the world. And I just wanted to speak to him, especially in relation to the topic of sexual discipline. We had an Instagram live a couple of years ago where we spoke about this topic, and I wanted to kind of follow up and the importance of sexual discipline because you've done a lot of great work on this field. But before we speak about how one can develop sexual discipline, do you mind defining what is sexual discipline, just in case people might not be aware of what the concept is?
Well, sexual discipline, because I especially recommend it for those men out there who can actually get women. They the ones who need it the most. They the ones who need it the most because you got some guys out here and yeah, they having that fun and everything, getting all the women, having all that sex, but then they don't have anything else to show for their lives. One of the things I practice is something called sex transmutation. I didn't talk about it in the book, but I get more into it in my follow-up book, Sexual Chemistry. And sex transmutation is taking a man taking that same energy he can use to chase women down and make love to them, but turn that same energy into maybe a book, a business, some type of project. But in order for him to do that, he has to have discipline because sometimes you get some men and you come on now, yeah, you know these beautiful women out there, they looking good, they're gorgeous and everything. Hey, most men want to get to that point, they have a bunch of them, but sometimes a man gets too caught up. If a man has sexual discipline, it helps him in many ways, not just and not even just to like do something like net to transmutation, but just really get control over his life because that sexual energy is powerful. That sexual energy is powerful. I can attribute everything I've done today to having that discipline. And I can look back when I didn't have that discipline. I was like, I'm not going anyplace. And all it is just having some willpower. Now, let me be clear about it. It's a conscious willpower because you get some guys out here, they ain't having sex at all. And they'll say, oh, well, I'm disciplined. No, you're not attracting the women. See, the key to it is you have to be able to attract the women and then exercise discipline on who you're going to deal with, how often you're going to have sex, even to the point of consciously, you could have a bunch of women interested, but you say, no, I'm working on this project. I'm going monk mode for 3 months. See, it's all about the willpower. You have a choice. That's the true discipline. That's the true discipline. And then even during the act of sex, having discipline, one a big problem with so many men out here is they can't last long in the bedroom. You talk to women, they'll say, oh, yeah, 3 minutes, 3 minutes. I'm like, if you have discipline, you can even actually engage in true semen retention. what's true semen retention? See, a lot of guys, they confuse no fap with semen retention. No, true semen retention, you can have sex with that woman, even raw sex with that woman, and you still don't ejaculate. That's discipline. That's control. You can make it last longer. And in fact, when you talk about some tantra masters, for a woman has to earn his seed. So that's actually birth control. That's control. Because think about it, you inside of a woman, how much just being an exercise control. And then when you have that control, it can focus more on bringing her pleasure because you're not finishing quick or anything like that. So it's good for her. Then it's actually good for you because that's an hour of pleasure. So, I mean, it's so many things. But think about sex. Think about sexual energy as fire, and then think about control as a flamethrower. You controlling that energy, and you can do whatever with it. You can use it to increase your knowledge. You can say, okay, that same energy, I'll be at the club, I can take it and read some books on knowledge. I can read the book by Habib Akande on kunyata. I mean, you can do a whole bunch of stuff, and that's the power of it. It's powerful.
Very well said. And for you yourself, how did you get into the field of teaching men, like doing men's coaching, and how did you learn about sexual discipline yourself? Do you mind sharing?
I'm gonna tell you what. It was kind of interesting because at first I had written in the DC area. I had written I was a writer. Let me go all the way back to the beginning. I wrote the first thing I published was a fiction story called The Perfect Man. It wasn't even for the ladies. It was just a story about a man who was in relationships with two different women. He was being a perfect man for both of them. Many women bought it, and they were taking it seriously. To me, it was just a good story. And I appreciate when people say that about some women, they were taking it seriously. And see, this was in the 90s when we had this big issue, relationships. That's when it really started kicking up. So I said, okay, let me write a pamphlet for the ladies. It was called Finding a Good Man. And it actually got me on local cable TV in the Washington, D.C. area. And people were buying it. It was really doing something. But then men started coming to me and said, we need something. So I put together something for the men. And then as far as the sexual aspect, well, that's always been a part of me. But then I started, one of the things that really got me to thinking at least about the discipline part was reading Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, and he had a chapter on sex transmutation. But then everything else was just from personal experience, really. Personal experience, because like I said, I remember the day I was just buck wild, but I wasn't getting anything done. I wasn't doing anything. But then when I started not only exercising control over myself, but then having discipline to only deal with certain women, that's when I noticed, it's like, hey, wait a minute, I'm going someplace. I'm really rising to another level. So it's just experience, and it's just sharing that. Because one of the things, like my best customers are actually guys who get women, but they want more discipline. Because actually, people don't realize it. Because, of course, so many guys out here want to be that man who's getting all the women. But I've had guys who getting the women, they say like, Rom, I want to get out of this. This is crazy. Guys who had to talk at least one guy off the ledge. Another guy say he wish he could move someplace where they didn't know him. Another guy saying he wish he was just a regular guy who could just deal with one woman. So you start seeing that. And even when my book, Nice Guys and Players, first came out, it was the players who were buying the book. It was a hard sell to nice guys. And even when some nice guys bought it online, they didn't like it. They didn't like it. So my biggest fans were always women because they were like, yeah, we want that guy who can do both. And players, because one of the things I said in it was, are you a player who can get every woman except the one you want? And that's what really touched a lot of guys, including may he rest in peace, Alan Roger Curry. He had bought the book. And I remember communicating with him and actually helping him to get a hard copy of his book out. I was helping him with that. So I mean, he said that's what drew him to my book. A player, you can get every one. But that's part of it too, discipline. Discipline. Like some women, yeah, they down for sharing. But some women, they want that man who's more mature, has more control over himself. And actually, a man would need that because men don't realize if a woman wants you, she is, they got a power where if they really want a man, you know how, man, they go into seduction mode and they can distract you. See, sometimes that man will need that discipline not to be distracted when he's on his mission. So it's very important. And ironically, some elements of society who would be considered unsavory practice sexual discipline, like pimps. People talk trash about, but a pimp, they very sexually disciplined, which is why they do what they do. I'm not saying going out there and being a pimp, but understand part of their psychology. Part of this, like they don't just have. See, some people might think, oh yeah, they have sex with all their workers. No, a woman, one of their workers have to earn it, but that's a part of who they are. I mean, and it's part of their mindset. So it's powerful. But then, just a regular guy on the street, if he uses it, it can help so much. But to even get to that point, he has to be comfortable with his own sexual nature. He got to light the fire first and then control it. As I was saying earlier, some guys think they're controlling it, but the fire isn't there. So, you're not really controlling anything. It's not there to begin with. So you have to control it.
And is this something from your experience with coaching men that, again, for the men that who are comfortable attracting women, but they haven't got the discipline, like you said, especially for the woman that they desire, is it something that they generally develop over a certain period of time or a certain age, or do they need to kind of have certain, like maybe coaching or to kind of acquire that level of discipline?
I've seen both. Honestly, I've seen both. I've seen situations where some will look for some direction. I've seen some situations they won't. There's some guys 50s, 60s, and they still doing the same thing, but they haven't done anything in their lives. And then the only other circumstance I've seen, if somebody had a serious event in their lives that just made them want to change their direction, maybe a death in the family or something like that. So it could be I've seen it, everything across the board as far as that.
I think one of the things that I found as well is that for a lot of guys, obviously you might be out in the streets doing your thing, but then when you want to settle down or you find the woman that you think, okay, this is the one for me, because you haven't practiced sexual discipline before, you go into that relationship, you're not able to, because you're just used to following your desires kind of thing. So that's something that I think a lot of men do struggle with. They think that as soon as I find the one or find the right woman, then all of a sudden I'm going to be that sexually disciplined man, when it doesn't kind of work like that. If anything, you need to do that work beforehand. So for those guys who are, still in the streets or still looking to find that one, what advice, other than obviously purchasing your book and maybe attending some of your coaching sessions, what other advice could you kind of give them? Because I think a lot of men, they're under this assumption that sleeping around and being that's what it means to be the man, when I would argue that's not necessarily the case, especially if you don't have discipline. So what kind of advice would you give to those kind of guys?
Well, the advice I would give to them, if that's what they want to do, they need to start even before they meet the woman. Because thinking some woman is going to settle them is not going to work. And I've actually known guys who've done that. They say, yeah, she'll settle me down. But these guys got women throwing themselves at them. They have to start exercising discipline while really at the height. Like say they have a rotation of 5 women. Okay, maybe they want to just deal with just a few. They need to cut back on it. Like I know someone who actually did that. We did a coaching session. He had a bunch of women. But when I coached him, and as soon as he started cutting back, he started doing a whole bunch of other things, like very positive things, even to the point he went monk mode for a little bit. But he started beforehand, because that's something you got to gradually work, because you're used to that lifestyle. Like if say a guy, he's getting with all these women, I say, okay, start cutting them back. You don't have to go cold turkey, that's tough, but just start cutting them back. And maybe, maybe 1 or 2 is still hard, but just start cutting back if that's what you want to live. And depends on where you're living too. That's an important thing. Some places is good with polygamy and all of that. If that's cool, wherever you at. Whatever the case, even in societies that allow open polygamy, you still got to cut back. You still got to have some discipline. You still got to exercise it. So start practicing it beforehand. Don't just get with the woman just because you think she's just cute and she's right there. made me think, okay, what can this woman bring to me emotionally, psychologically? We already know what she can bring sexually. Think about what she can do for you psychologically, emotionally. Is she helpful in your business or whatever your plans are? But you just start cutting back, looking at the women, and say, okay, who's really bringing something to my life? Who's just for fun? Now, if you want to just keep going, though, okay, that's up to you. But like I said, a lot of guys, they found that's not working for them. In my view, only a small percentage of men can effectively handle multiple women. Everybody's not built for it. Everybody's not built for it. So if you find that that's a problem, which I could probably call the name of some celebrities I heard about, and they were just like, "This is crazy. This is crazy." Okay, you're not built for it. There's no shame in that, but you just got to gradually cut it off. Gradually cut it off. Let the woman go, and just go from there. And before they know it, they're more disciplined because you're starting to exercise discipline right there. It's like if you need to like really go on a diet, really need to lose some weight. You can't just say, oh, okay, I'm gonna go cold turkey. You just gradually lower your calories. It's the same principle. It's the same exact principle if you want to exercise discipline.
Agreed, agreed. Just for the benefit of those of you who have joined the last couple of minutes, I'm speaking to Rom Wills, who is an international best-selling author. He's written a number of books, amongst them being Meeting Attractive Women and Nice Guys and Players, which you can check out on Amazon as well as on his website, romwills.com. He's also a men's coach, a dating and relationship expert, and he's a prominent advocate of men developing and practicing sexual discipline, and also about body game, which I'm going to talk to him a little bit about later. Rom, you did mention earlier about NoFap, and that's something which, again, just for the benefit of people listening, NoFap is like no masturbation. I think that's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
No.
that's
Yeah, I mean, and that's actually good because I can help you develop discipline. That's one thing good about it. I don't have an issue with it. Only thing I always say is get what semen retention is correct. Don't confuse them. True semen retention, you can have sex with a woman and you can control yourself. You don't have to like ejaculate. Now that's some discipline. That's a fun practice too to like get to that level, but that's what it is. Now, NoFap, I would strongly I say keep it under control because there's arguments back and forth. You actually have some people, even some doctors say, it could be healthy to masturbate every now and then, especially for something like your prostrate if you're not having sex with a woman on a regular basis. It actually is helpful, but that is good discipline overall because unfortunately a lot of guys, if they engage in masturbation, they are watching porn, and psychologically that's not good. That's not good. You're watching somebody else get theirs, and then a lot of guys, they have hang-ups because, well, they're not hung like the porn star. In fact, I remember I recommended your book to a guy. He was concerned about his joint, his penis, right? And I said, well, check out this book. This will help you, give you some things to do. And they didn't want to check it out, but it is an issue. A lot of guys, they comparing themselves to porn stars, all of that, or they have an unrealistic view of what will really happen in a relationship. Thing about porn, that's acting. That is acting. That's not love making, because I ain't gonna act like I hadn't seen porn. I never got into it though, because I was like, I don't want to watch another man get this, and I'm sitting here. I've never got into it, except for one porn. It was called The Devil and Mrs. Jones or something like that. It was actually a good story. The sex got in the way, but other than that, I never got into it because I just couldn't watch it. I couldn't watch somebody else do that. And it's not for any religious reason, spiritual reason. I was just like, I can't watch them get this, and I'm sitting here by myself. Shoot. So, you just, you want to like get off of that. See, that's part of discipline too, just to get off of that. You want to really interact with women, just not in a purely sexual way, but you want to interact, and it'll really help. And anything you can do to help with your discipline, it helps.
Do you have much clients who are addicted to porn? Because that's something that I always often hear, especially when men reach out to me. It's like the issues that they have with porn. And again, similar to yourself, I understand the fascination with porn, but I can't understand the obsession with a lot of men watching another man basically enjoy himself when you're just there watching like a voyeur. I've never really kind of understood it, but each to their own. But those men who are really struggling with porn, what advice is there, like a couple of tips, practical tips, maybe you can kind of help them to kind of wean off the porn habit?
Well, honestly, I haven't had too many guys. I can probably count on one hand how many guys have really expressed an issue with it. Most of the men who come to me, they more focused on managing the women that they're dealing with, developing discipline, even if they don't use that term. They more focused on that. These are guys, it's rare I have to talk to a guy and say, okay, you need to do this to get a woman, you need to do that. It's rare. Most of the times it's like, yeah, Uncle Rom, I got these 3 women, anything, or, you know, I don't know which one to settle with, things of that nature. And the one guy who was big into porn, all I just did was just say, okay, you got to just wean yourself off of it. You really do. Because you're watching somebody else, that's creating something in your mind. And then psychologically, when you meet a woman in the real world and she's not like that porn star, that could be a real issue. You need to deal with reality. There's no real entertainment value in that, you know, and it's making you feel a certain way because you can't match up to that porn star, which they're strictly for that, you know, whatever their length is or whatever, and it's acting. Because I've seen some behind the scene clips of those things. Once they have sex, it's like nothing for them. It's like nothing for them just to stop and just be like, they at the office. Don't mean it's not the same thing as actually making love to a woman. So it's not the same thing. Just get off of that. Everything is fake.
With the coaching that you have with men, is it online? Is it face to face? Again, if people are interested and they wanted to contact you, what's the best way to go
Primarily
about?
phone. Primarily phone. I prefer to talk to them. And some people have wanted like face to face, like a Zoom call. But actually, I'm gonna be real. I prefer to do it over the phone because I don't want to focus on their appearance or anything else. I want to just deal with up here. So I prefer that. I prefer that. Only in rare occasions I'll do some Zoom. Rare occasions, but it's usually talk with them. I want to get an idea of how they think. I want to keep focused on that. So because that's ultimately to do any of this, even though I talk about body game, you say we're going to get into that, but ultimately you got to have the mindset to start off. Even if you're going to do body game and work out, you got to have the mindset to get started. So even with nice guys and players, a lot of it really is mindset. It's just to change your mind. Even what I do on my YouTube channel. And I'll throw out different things. I'll talk about different things, but it's all connected to just affecting your mind. Changing how you think. Because one of the things I've seen, a big issue is not how somebody looks or how much money they have, but it's their mindset. I've seen individuals and they can look very similar. In fact, I remember, this is back in college, I knew a roommate had twin brothers. One was shy around women and didn't think they found him attractive. The other one was conceited around women and everything, but they looked exactly alike. So what was the difference? Mindset. Mindset. So that's the main thing at the end of the day. But then what you think about in your mind, it goes out to the real world. As far as how you fix yourself up, how you're doing yourself, how you interact with women, how you start disciplining yourself. But you got to start first with that thought like, okay, I'm going to become more disciplined. I'm going to develop my sexual energy and then get control over it. Because that's really the process. First, you got to develop that sexual energy. You got too many men out here, women too, but I work primarily with men who are sexually repressed. So they don't even have the fire. So like I said, they'll think they discipline, but it's easy to control something if it's not there. You got to build it up first and then learn how to control it. You got to be that flamethrower. You got to ride. It's like a horse. You got to learn how to ride that horse. But if the horse is asleep, you're not doing anything.
No, I respect that. What actually you said about phone calls over Zoom. I think that's actually a better strategy. I never thought about it like that because obviously it's about the mind. And I think especially with a number of men, especially if they're struggling with certain things on their dating or intimate relationship, they might be thinking that they're going to be judged or what have you. But if you're just having that phone call and you're just speaking to them, it's about their mind and they don't need to worry about how they come across or anything like that. Yeah, that's a really good tactic. I might have to, yeah, that's, I never thought about that. And if people wanted to obviously take you up on your services, where's the best place to contact you? Via Instagram or your website or email yourself? I'm going to save this live anyway, but just for people, for the benefit of those who
Either my
want to hear more.
either my website, and I've had several people contact me through Instagram. Some people contact me through Patreon. Any of those. Website, I have a contact page there. Instagram, hit me up directly. If you're on my Patreon, you can hit me. You can shoot me a DM. And my Patreon is www.patreon.com/Rom Wills, my name.
Okay. And again, just for the benefit of anyone who's joined, I can see a few people during the last couple of minutes. I'm speaking to Rom Wills, who is an international best-selling author, a relationship expert, and a men's coach. You can check Rom on his website, romwills.com, as well as obviously on his Instagram. I've tagged Rom's, obviously you can see his IG handle. It gives phenomenal advice. And we haven't really touched on the surface, to be honest, because when you have that one-to-one session, if you speak to him, because and he's got clients from all over the world, very raw and authentic with his advice and very practical. So definitely, I would definitely recommend guys check him out, as well as his book, Nice Guys and Players. He does give phenomenal advice, and again, you can check him out on YouTube. Now, Rom, I wanted to touch on like online space. There's a lot of talk online about like body count and virgins, but mainly on body count. Just wanted to know from your experience, what is this like? I don't know if it's a concern or obsession that a number of like men nowadays seem to have with like a woman's body count. Look, is that something that you notice? I'm just trying to understand.
You know what? And I'm gonna say this. First of all, you can't worry about a woman's body count. One, she either going to tell you what her actual count is, or she going to lie. And at the end of the day, you're not going to know. You can't worry about it. All that matters ultimately is how she's treating you at that moment. Now, there could be a guy she's hung up on, but it ain't because of she had sex with him. When only way a woman truly bonds with a man really isn't sexually. It's emotionally, through the heart. And I have said, be concerned about that guy she still got feelings in her heart for. Because honestly, with women, sex can be a handshake. Many women out here, even if they don't have a high body count, they might marry some guy and they'll just let him do his business. That's not connected. I've known of cases where a woman has been with a guy for a long time, only sex partner, but they wouldn't marry or something like that, but she wasn't truly connected to him. And see, women ain't gonna connect with every single guy. So you can't worry about it. And let's just be real. The whole body count thing don't have anything to do with the women. They don't have nothing to do with guys say, well, she can't bond, she can't bond. You ain't, please, whatever. You got prostitutes who will bond. Like if they finish life, they might bond with their pimp and live happily ever after. Guys are more worried about, they more sexually insecure that they can satisfy that woman on the same level as a past lover. That's really it. Because they worried about that. They're not securing themselves sexually. Because I've known some men, because I actually posed that question in one of my webinars. And, some of the guys, I couldn't deal with it. One guy said, yeah, she been with 100. Yeah, bring her on. Because he wasn't worried about it. Seriously, all you have to do, you got to worry about what she doing at the moment, what she bringing to the table. Because even with the body count thing, now for somebody, it might be 100. She's had 100 men. For somebody else, she's had 3 men. And that's a high body count. Because we got to be real. Like, first of all, we got to be realistic in this day and age. And I've heard this even about, I remember I did a video a week or so ago, and I said, the only place you might find a virgin is in Muslim countries. I said that. I was corrected by several men who they said, no, they ain't necessarily virgins, Ron. I was corrected. So I said, okay, I need to ask better. That was maybe just, you know, the outside propaganda I'm getting or something. But these guys told me that because I said if they in the West, you'd be hard pressed to find a virgin. And then the guys want an attractive woman. It'd be hard pressed because these little girls out here. I mean, it'll be hard. You got women out here who they could tell you they're a virgin, but if you really ask them and they were honest, they just technical virgins. They never been penetrated vaginally. They might have had anal sex, and they might probably definitely engage in oral sex. I've dealt with some women, they were technical virgins, but their oral sex skills, they could give seminars. So you look, here's the thing. Get comfortable, understand that, and be more concerned about her emotional state as it relates to you. Because that's all that counts. Is she supportive? Is she an asset or a liability? Is she down for your program? Like some guys think, well, she can't be. And I find it interesting. A lot of guys will say, well, she can't settle with a guy and all of that. I thought y'all trying to be players. What do y'all want? Seriously, now, okay, you want that good mate, okay. But just be real. I've read accounts of how even in indigenous societies, they figured out ways to hide her virginity or like make it look like she's a virgin. I'm getting stories. I'm like, you know what? Worry about where her heart is. That's the only thing that counts. Really. Seriously. Even you know, who she really connects to. Because seriously, the number of women who can just have sex with a random man and even in a relationship with him, that's actually quite high, but they don't necessarily have a count. Like I said, I've known some women and they were actually more on the conservative side, but they weren't connected to the guy. Might have been one of the few men they had sex with, and they weren't connected. That doesn't automatically, man's penis don't automatically connect a man to a woman. It brings her some pleasure, and she could be connected. She could really like that pleasure, but ultimately, it's about a heart with a woman as far as connection. It's about a heart. And let's just be real. A lot of women, even if a woman's had 20 men, it's a serious possibility out here that, you know, she didn't enjoy the sex with them. And in fact, I've met some players. They said they'd rather have a woman who's had 30 men, rather as opposed to a woman who's had 2. And this one player said it. He said, then this a guy, he might have had a legitimate count in the hundreds, like a legitimate count. I saw how women interacted with him, and he was older. And he said the woman with 2 is always going to wonder, is there more out there? Meanwhile, the woman who's been with 30, she's going to been there, done that. She's more likely to chill. So, you know, but ultimately you can't worry about it because that's hurting the man because he's always going to be like, well, if she's had these guys and she's thinking about it more. It's like, well, did this guy make her holler? Did this guy do this? Did she do that for the guy? You're more worried about the woman. Obviously, she ain't with him anymore. You know? And let's be real. Some guys will say, well, they more likely to cheat. There was a movie. It was out of England. Good Luck Leo Grand or something like that. With
Oh yes, I've heard of that. Yeah, something like Real Grand. Yeah.
Yeah, the woman in it was old. I can't remember her name now, but the whole premise was
Emma Thompson.
Huh?
Emma Thompson. Is it the elderly lady who had solicited about prostitute escort?
Yeah.
Emma Thompson.
Okay, yeah. And the whole thing, I remember I watched it and I was like, her story was she had only had sex in the same position with the same man for like her whole marriage. You know? And it was like the same, but how bonded were they really? Because as soon as he passed away, she wanted to try some things. You know? So that's not all just having sex don't mean it was always good. You get some women, they might just be in the wrong position or something, or think something's cool. But it's like, whatever. In fact, it's funny. I've dealt with many women. They'll actually volunteer a number to me at first, right? And my reaction would be like, Then they have a new higher number. I'm just like, I don't really care because I know what I can do. Because one thing a man got to do is be confident in his own abilities. He can't keep focused on that because first of all, you never know who got what or whatever. A man got to be confident in his own ability. Only worry about what is she doing right there. Because let's just be real. A man will probably never know anyway. He can't prove anything. She could throw out a number. He can't prove it. You can't worry about that. You need to worry what she doing right there with you.
I'm just wondering, where do you think this I'll call it miseducation comes from with men, where they equate a woman's sexual past or even their sexual past by how good they are in the bedroom, or how less likely a woman's going to be faithful because she has had multiple partners? Where do they get this like miseducation or misunderstanding from?
There's a lot of misinformation just out here, period. There's a lot of guys who don't have any sexual skills, had very low counts themselves, been with very few women. They just putting out information. A lot of guys out, I mean, I even said that in a recent video. A lot of so-called nice guys don't even really like women. Nice is their game. They don't like women. It's like, dude, what worry about it? It's like, shoot. Because if I meet a woman, I'm hoping she very experienced. Like, okay, say if I meet a woman and she legitimately said, well, I've been with 100 guys. And we clicking and all of that. I'll expect the sex to be very good. I'll be disappointed if I'm like, damn, that's it. Seriously, I'm not worried about that, because that's one thing. And that's why I'm going to be real. That's why a lot of women have told me some stuff. I say most of what I've said has been women have co-signed. Always co-signed, because they say, Rom, okay, you know what's up, because I don't judge or anything. I'm like, okay. Because you just never know. You never know. You can't know. No matter what she give you, I mean, she could tell you, but then they'll conveniently forget the guy or something. You'll never know. Why worry about it? Worry about what you can do. Because my conceit is, oh, I'm going to be in her top 3 automatically. I'm going to be in her top 3. And that's how I'm thinking. I don't care who she been with. I'll be cocky about it. I'm gonna say, and I've had some women, got with some women, like first time we get together, they say, well, Rob, I didn't come. And I'll be like, oh, damn, okay, girl, hold on a second. We get back into it, then she be like, oh. Okay. No, seriously, I had one. She told me straight up. It was like this woman I dealt with years ago, when I was younger, back in the 80s. We had sex first few times. She said, Rom, I didn't come. I was like, okay, let me change some stuff up. After that, she said, Rom, you make me come every single time, and I felt it. So I was just like, whatever. And I didn't worry about it. I didn't ask. Because even the women who might have told me they count, I didn't ask them. They might volunteer it. And I was just like, okay.
I want to touch on what you mentioned about this, like the nice guys that don't like women, and that's something that I've kind of come across. What I mean, like where there's guys who have relationships with women or they're attracted to women, but there seems to be like a disdain, especially I see it online with women. I never really understand that. Like, it's like you like women, you're heterosexual, you sleep with women. I'm assuming you do anyway. But certain parts of whether it's a female anatomy or woman's past, or it's like they have a lot of hatred towards. And again, I see this a lot on the manosphere, not necessarily the manosphere, the red pill space. I'm just wondering, like, where is this coming from? Because I don't really understand. Yeah.
It could be myriad things. It could be an issue with their mom. It could be an issue with rejection when they're young. Understand something. See, I've talked about the male imprint. I mean, the female imprint. That's a combination of the first 3 men, a blueprint of the first 3 men who penetrated her. Our imprint is a combination of the first woman we sleep with, but even before that, how the dominant, the diva treated the pretty women that we had that crush on treats us. A good imprint, just mentally. Now, a good imprint for a man is not that she had sex with him, but she was friendly to him, gave him some good hugs, talked to him. That's a good imprint. Many guys been rejected. See, it's a serious matter when a young man gets rejected. by a pretty woman. That's why guys are talking, they'll go back to high school. And then if they get constant rejection, because they even told women, if you got to reject a guy, try to be as nice as possible, as polite as possible about it. You know, try to be, because it sticks on some men. And then, you know, and of course they get rejected. And the average guy is not going to look at why he got rejected. Now, I was blessed when I was younger. The pretty girls were friendly to me. Didn't have sex with, well, one or two, but most of them, they were just friendly, hugged me and all of that. So I didn't have that same sense of rejection. But guys who get it constantly, and it can stay with them because for whatever reason they got rejected, they didn't change anything about themselves. So they get rejected the same way again and again. And then when they finally do get with a woman, it might not be the type of woman they actually like. They might have some disdain. And then, like I said, it could be issues with their mom, everything. It's a lot of stuff. But it gets to the point, and then you have a society that puts women down. You don't want to be in a position. See, here's the thing. Men have to really understand women and respect them, because here's the thing. If you say you marry that woman, if she feels fearful, she's not comfortable, she's passing that on to the children. That's the future right there. They need to be taken care of, and they need to feel a certain way, you know? Because our job as men is really protect them, make them feel comfortable. Their job is to nurture. Like one of their main nurturing is nurturing a man's seed. Once that seed goes in there, connects with the egg, and nurturing that baby. A woman needs to feel comfortable, first of all, you know? But yeah, unfortunately, you got some men, the woman is just a possession, or, you know, or other negative stuff. And that's not good. And I've told some men that. I said, if you see that and you giving that impression, shoot, women picking up on it. But then you got to figure out, you got to ask yourself, what type of woman is going to deal with some guy who's giving off that energy? She's probably ain't right herself. And then you get a vicious cycle there. So one of the things is, like, because see, my thing is this. Now, every now and then I'll say something, usually in a funny way, about women, like something in general. But I've had a woman's channel. It's inactive right now. But I've told women directly. I'll just tell them directly, look, you want a guy, this is what's up. This is what we seeing. This is what a good man's going to look for. Right? But to me, that's tough love. And some women have even said, yeah, we needed to hear that tough love. But, you know, you get some guys, it's like they say they want a woman, but they coming off mean. I'm like, why would you psychologically, that's messing you up inside. Because on one level, you want that woman, but on the other level, you see it as less than. That's messing you up. That's messing your head up. Because then that becomes a problem. That becomes a problem. Because even when you with a woman, that's going to come off. Because if you're talking about, especially having sex with a woman, she picking up on your energy. Too many guys, you see, you got to have a good thing. Because I've told guys, like, even in private, because I knew this guy, he'd always call women bitch, 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 and all of that, right, in private. But then when he was with them, around them, he tried to act all nice, but they weren't feeling him. And I said, yeah, because that attitude is coming off in your facial feature and your body language. Women pick up on that, you know? And see, the guys don't really realize. Now, this ain't saying, now some guys will say, well, ain't that simping and stuff? No, you're not putting a woman ahead of you. You're just respecting who she is as a person. Because if a woman says something that you disagree with, you don't have to put up with it. Because the true meaning of simping means you putting that woman on a pedestal and you doing whatever it is to get her, which it really is, you're not looking at her as a person. See, if you putting someone on a pedestal, you holding them up as a god or something, a goddess or something. I'm like, no, they just a person. They fart just like you do. They got insecurities just like anybody else. And, you know, you can, you can joke with them, laugh with them, have fun with them, all of that. But don't, you putting them above you, you know? And I would tell men, don't put a woman above you. You know, she need to be walking beside you. Don't put her below you either, like she's just an accessory or something. Just respect her as a person. You can get a lot out of it. But she do need to be an asset. She do need to be an asset to you, which means she's helping you. Because a lot of what I've done, I've had some very attractive women. They actually helped me build my business. A whole lot of attractive women have helped out in one way or the other behind the scenes. A lot of them been supportive over the years. That's why I don't really have anything negative. I would be a hypocrite. If I started just talking trash about women, I'd be a straight up hypocrite. Because even where I'm everything, there's some woman that's popped up and helped in some way, one way or the other, no matter what. Going back to when I was young. Attractive women. My biggest thing is I ain't know what to do all the time. That was my biggest issue with them. But you understand something. See, that goes back around to sexual discipline. That goes back around to a power a man who gets women can have. That goes back around to that. Because a woman, that goes beyond sex. Because you understand, if you had the support, you had standing with women, and they support you, you can go to high levels. Seriously, I can point out the women, man. There's several women who just helped out to this day, one way or the other. One way or the other. And that's power, man. That's some power. So I'm like, wait a minute, you got this woman, you got women who can have sex with you. That can help you. You got women who, you know what, can make food or something for you. Now I've been married, and me and my co-parent are cool. She still makes food for me. She still makes food for me. So I'm like, okay, that's still supportive. Plus, she's been a good mother to our sons. That's still supportive. So that's the power. That's the power right there of, if you're a man, you got the support of women. Man, you can go to a higher level. Go to a higher level.
I respect that. I love that. Especially the point you mentioned about having women around you that support you. And I think especially as men, and this is something I tried to speak to men offline, is that not every woman, especially if she's attractive, you need to try and make a pass on her, because I think that's something that a number of men that hit me up in my DMs, they're just thinking that every woman that maybe I'm working with, I'm either in a relationship with or trying to have a relationship with them. It's like, no, not every woman that's attractive I'm trying to sleep with, but they can't get that concept around their head, because they think that if a woman's attractive, you must either are sleeping with her or trying to sleep with her. It's like, no, not every woman, you can't treat every woman as like a potential intimate partner. So is that like what you're speaking about, importance of having sexual discipline and seeing there's more to, you can have a healthy and good relationship without necessarily having been intimate with them. So I'm glad you kind of said that, because that's not really said often, especially on public platforms. I wanted to actually, just for the benefit, again, I've seen a few more people joining. I'm speaking to Rom Wills, who is a dating and relationship expert, a best-selling author from the United States of America. He's written a number of books, amongst them being Meeting Attractive Women, Nice Guys and Players, which you can check out on his website, romwills.com, as well as Amazon. He also provides coaching, one-to-one coaching for men, primarily over the phone, so you can understand, the man's mindset and help obviously reshape that. Coming to the coaching, Rob, actually, I wanted to touch on the body game. I know that you speak a little bit about that on your YouTube channel. Do you mind just giving a quick overview in terms of what body game is and how that can maybe help men in their life?
Well, a primary way that people turn another member of the opposite sex on sexually is through the body. That's a primary way. If men really pay attention, women go crazy over men's bodies. So on that level, the more you get in decent shape, at least be fit, and especially appeal to a specific woman who likes specifically your body, the better. Because if you look at it, they go crazy over jocks. We got the NCAA tournament going on. You know, these guys going to get their cuts. Women have gone crazy. Most of the serious players I've known, most of them, like 97% of them, played some type of sport, had a good body build. So that's one level. It's just appealing to women. And some guys think, well, it's just a face, it's just a face. Yeah, you got some women like a face, but they're looking at the body too. You think about it, they have to like on a primal level sexually want to be with you sexually. They gotta like what they look at when they see you naked. Now that's one level. That's one level. Body game is also about your health as a man. Your body is your vehicle for getting to, for doing stuff. You have to be able to physically do stuff. You got to be able to physically take action. If you want a business, you got to do some work. Yeah, I know we got online and everything, but you still got to move around. Most people have to do something. You know, a man, that gives him, that's the fuel, that's the vehicle a man can use to get to a higher level.
And also, I wanted to ask you about is it the 9 steps? It's a love technique or sexual
Oh,
technique?
sets
I
of
think I've
nine.
heard it.
Yeah,
The
sets of
sets of nine.
nine. Yeah, that comes from India.
Okay.
And the sets of nine, it's a very simple technique, really. It's 9 shallow thrust, 1 long thrust. And then it's you know, that's interesting because it might be sets of 10, but people know it as sets of 9. But 9 shallow thrusts, 1 long thrust, and then you count it down. 8 shallow thrust, 2 long ones, 7 shallow thrusts, 3 long ones. And you count it down till you end up with just 10 long thrusts. Women love it because especially their G spot, their most sensitive area, is within that first inch. Literally, a man can just stick the head in and can do something with that. So it's, and you can look it up online, and I would advise men to definitely practice it. Ladies always give me a look. I do it with them the first time. They always give me that look like, keep that.
Nice, nice. Now, again, we're coming to the hour, so we're going to wrap up shortly. But before we just cover more questions, before we wrap up, I think I know what you're going to say, but I just want to kind of emphasize this point about changing the mindset, or men having that correct mindset, especially if they want to develop and practice sexual discipline. But what would you say for guys, especially guys who may be under 30 or under 40, who are not where they want to be financially, and they're just thinking about getting the money because they think if they get the money and the status, they'll get the woman, and then they'll be able to develop that sexual discipline. What would you say to those like kind of younger guys who are just obsessed with their maybe career or trying to get the money, get the bag, but they're not thinking so much about the mindset, because they're thinking when they get there, that's when they'll maybe come to someone like a Rom. What would you say to those younger guys?
Look, first of all, women, money doesn't make a woman have an orgasm. And if you really think about it, like, because you got a lot of guys out here, they got a lot of money, they don't have a woman. Yeah, you want to still build your career and stuff and everything. You want to build that, build your mission, but don't think, okay, I'm gonna get the money, then get the woman. A woman has to want to be, look, when a man and woman is together in the bedroom, they butt naked. Where's that money then? Money doesn't turn a woman on. Money itself doesn't turn a woman on. It's the man, it's his actions and everything. You can still build your career, but you gotta build it on yourself. So you have to build your body. You have to, like, you know, give a good physical presentation. You have to have a good mindset, work on your personality to have all of that. Because the reality is you got men out here, they're broke. They're broke and they getting women. Shoot. I remember a few years ago, I'm sleeping on an air mattress, but having women come over regularly. So, I mean, look, you want to do that because that's where the power is. Money comes and goes. Money comes and goes. But you want to develop yourself where women want to get with you. That's very important. And then once they get with you, you know, you can go forward from there. You don't want to depend on money because there's a lot of guys who've done just that, but then they get frustrated. They ain't developed their other skills. They ain't developed their interpersonal skill. You still got to talk to the woman. You still got to talk to the woman. She still got to like what she sees. You still got to have a good outer presentation that she finds attractive. You still got to be able to talk to her and everything. You know, money, if you use that money, use it to build yourself up. But you can't say, "Oh, I'm gonna hand this woman the money." Women got their own money, so that's, that's taking that out of the picture. That is taking that out of the picture. So they want, in fact, women. It's getting to the point. Women are not so much going for the man with money. They go on the man who's going to work, of course, got something going on. But because they don't want to feel like they're taking care of them. But they want that guy that can spend time with. It's about, men need to make it more about themselves. What are they presenting to the women? And yes, you're going to have some women say he got to make 200 and all of that or whatever. Leave them alone. Leave them alone. Because that's not a good woman in my view. She's not trying to get to know the actual person. You got some evil people making a lot of money. I would ask those women, you going to give that guy? Oh, well, he's making his money selling drugs. He's making his money causing pain and suffering and stuff. But he's making that money. You still going to get with him? And if a woman say, yeah, well, damn, you look good too, baby, but I'm gonna let you go. Seriously, men got to focus on building themselves. See, once you build yourself, honestly, you can always get money. You want to build yourself to the point you can always get money. No matter what you do, you can always get money. Build yourself that way. And indeed, let me go a little deeper. You build yourself, you can make money from the women interacting. Because I made a lot of money from women interacting with women, selling my books, like my book, Nice Guys and Players. I've sold a lot of copies to women's face-to-face. I've sold a lot of copies. They were the ones buying it at first too. Them and the players. And how'd I make the sales? How'd I make the sales? They like what they see. And that's part of sex transmutation. Like a good salesman who got sexual energy can always make money. So I say build the tools to make money, but those tools can also help you with women.
Well said. I don't want to give too much away because I want people to purchase a book and see it for themselves. But there's one of the sections from your book, Nice Guys and Players. If you don't mind, do you mind just giving a high-level overview of the categories of men that you spoke about, like the good? Actually, if you don't mind, touching on that.
Well, I talk about 4 main categories of men and then a 5th one I add. The 4 main ones, the 2 non-select guys, the nice guys and the gamesmen. The nice guys, okay, is what it said. Women just see them as nice, which means they're not turned on. They don't turn women on. Women see them like a brother. That's the thing. Women see them like a brother. So that's them. A friend, a brother. The gamesmen, these are guys, they typically not attractive to women, but they're persistent. They got to play some type of serious game, lie, whatever, get lucky, be persistent, chase a woman down. But then you have the select men. Those are the masked men and Mr. Goodbar. The masked man, now he's that guy, he does have some money and status, but he also has, he looks good on paper. He's what society says a woman should get with. And, and a woman, you do have some women, they're going to go for that outer stuff. And then they're not going to feel, but they don't like what they see under the mask. They looking at the surface of it. And even then, even with the money and status part, the guy still got to look good. He has to look good. He got to hit the gym. He got to make sure he keeps his hair cut up. Mr. Goodbar just got raw sex appeal. And it's just an energy. They got sexual charisma. Now, a 5th guy who rises above that is the real man. That's when, if you have sexual discipline, you can go to the real man level. He has discipline. He got control over himself. That's when it's real. Because the other ones, even Mr. Goodbar, that can sound good to a lot of guys, but they having some problem. They don't have that discipline a lot of times. They getting in trouble. A real man has discipline and control, and he also has the traits of all of these guys. He has a positive traits of all of them. So that's the highest level right there.
Yeah, and that's, again, if you want more information, again, check out the book, Nice Guys and Players. Rom has other books, but he did give a very nice overview because the book is nice, very easy to read, especially I know because a lot of guys struggle to read or don't really like reading. But this is a really nice read. It deals with the categories of men, which Rom has given an overview over. Attractive traits, how the importance of understanding women, becoming like the real man, as Rom outlined, sexual chemistry, attitude towards women, mental and spiritual development, and obviously it concludes with the real man, which is like what Rom mentioned, is a combination of those four categories of men. So again, really good book. It's better than, well, in my opinion, it's better than like the game that everyone was kind of getting excited over, which again, it's a decent book, but this is it's more practical and it hits home, and it's I think it's more authentic. Rom, is there anything that you want to? I think we've kind of given a good overview. I didn't really want to take too much of your time. Thank you for joining me for like an hour. But is there anything that you've got coming up, or workshops or seminars that you want to plug before we come to a close?
Well, I'm doing something in New York in a couple of weeks with Mr. Lucario and Miles Cunningham, the Game Kings 2 seminar with the definition of a man. That's going to be in on April 1st. Hit up Mr. Lucario. I think it's the real Mr. Lucario, or look him up, Mr. Lucario. That's Mr. Locario. Look him up, and they're advertising about that. And other than that, it's just doing my thing. I got so many things to do, just find time to do it. But I don't know anything that'll probably be happening this summer. But I have some ideas for some things. I'll keep them to myself. When it's ready to drop, I'll drop it.
So just stay tuned. Follow Rom. Obviously, you can see his Instagram handle. Follow Rom. Check out his YouTube channel. A lot of really good videos. Dope guidance he gives and practical advice, and obviously his books. Definitely check out Rom. Rom, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much again. Thank you everyone for joining. And then we'll definitely speak soon. But yeah, thank you again for your time.
Thank you. And I got to say, you have a great book yourself talking about kunyata. I've recommended it to people. Anybody saying, I say, man, just get this book, okay? That's a powerful, powerful book. So definitely. So, I mean, you giving me these praise. We got to give you some praise for presenting that information and the powerful information you present. So
much respect, sir. Thank you very much again. Thank you everyone for joining. I'll save this. Obviously, people can obviously listen and share it afterwards. But yeah, take care, everyone. I'll speak to you soon. Take care.
Right, bye. Peace and blessings, everyone.
Yes.